Okay, welcome back to my YouTube channel. You have just landed on the YouTube channel of your asset protection pastor, Mr. Richard Williams, aka King Richard. And I am very fortunate and happy to have, honored to have a dear friend of mine on who's a guest today. His name is Mr. Jason Bunkley, and he serves right now as commissioner of the LGBTQ Advisory Commission in the city of Newark, New Jersey, and he's a program director at the Asylum Shelter in New York City, and he wears multiple hats. Very active in the LGBT community and in the community at large, as we are discussing some things that he's doing and has already done to combat homelessness, and get people who are actually homeless on the right side of the spectrum. We have talked about previously, and this is part three. In our previous video, we talked about his personal perspective, how he got involved in it, how this become a passion of working with homeless people. We went through the challenges and insights, and then we discussed some roles that he's doing, some efforts that he's doing to combat homelessness. What is he doing? What has he been doing? Where he's been, how he got there. You can check that out in part one and part two. In this segment, part three, this is a call to action. So, what can we do as a community to get behind him, to to come alongside him and unite in helping to combat homelessness? Homelessness is an issue all over this country. In particular, I wanted to talk about my home state and his home state as well. As of January the 20th of 2024, over 770,000 homeless individuals right now in the United States. And these are what's documented. I'm willing to believe that well over 1 million people are homeless and experiencing homeless families and individuals right now, probably over 1 million. I wouldn't be surprised if it's even greater to say 2 million people or more. This is just what was reported. Think about it. People that you work with, and they may come in to work and they're dressed and garbed and their finest of clothes, their hair is laid, fried, dyed, and laid to the side, as they call it in the black community. And they call it snatch. They come in snatched, meaning that they come in looking like a bill of health, and they come into the workplace and they look very wealthy, yet and still when they go home, they don't have a home to go to. Their home is a tent. I was riding in the valley a few years ago here in LA, and I saw a gentleman. I was parked on the side of the street, and I parked over because I needed to get my bearings straight on my GPS. I needed to know the directions to get to where I was going. And I parked near a homeless. It was a tent. I didn't realize that. I had no idea that this person would pull up. He pulled up in an S10 pickup truck, and he got out of the truck, locked the truck, and he went into a tent. And that's the tent that he lived in. So sometimes when people seem that they have their shift together, they don't always have it together. So you never know where people are coming from or where they're going. So when you're dealing with people, it's often good to deal with people and with a kind hand. And just because you're driving your Mercedes Benz or your Lexus today, guess what? Nobody knows your story. They see your,
Mhm.
but they don't know what you had to go through to get to where you are. Tyler Perry, who is a prominent figure in Hollywood, and he's doing some big things in Atlanta in film and the movie industry. And he talks about his story of being homeless. And once, even when he got to doing better, he saw a person that was homeless, and he gave that person the shoes off of his feet. And so when you have been homeless or you've been without, you've been destitute, then you can relate to and you can understand what the what was going on in Tyler's mindset when he did that. And that was a compassionate coming from the heart. And just because you've never been in failure or you've never been destitute before doesn't mean that it's not going to come. I often say,
Mhm.
I've said it many times and I'll say it again, you know, Just because you have it today does not mean that tomorrow you may be without it. Okay. So when you have these things, live each day in your life like it's your last day. It could be your last day being wealthy. It could be your last day being in an abusive relationship. It could be your last day of being in poverty. It could be your last day on your job. It could be your last day married to your spouse or in a
Mhm.
relationship with your lover. Treat each new day like a new day and a special day. Because when you live each day like it's your last day, you're more intentional and more appreciative and you're more involved. Even having your parents, looking back in my own life, both of my parents are no longer with us. And I relish the day that I could see them again. But I know the only way
Mhm.
to do that is on the other side of life. So one of the things that I did do as an adult is that I spent the time with them. I was nice and kind to them, and I was a good young man because I wanted to make them proud. Anyway, that's
Mhm.
enough of that soapbox. But another thing I want to talk about in the statistics, we talked about is 770,000 people in the United States as of 2024. Well, with this new administration has come in, a lot of people who has been affected in the DEI, the Department of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, they have lost their jobs and now their families are in uncharted waters, don't know where they're going to go, where they're going to live. Some of them, their pension plans is not that much because everyone has not been there for 29 or 30 years. Some people have only been there for a year or two and they don't have that money. And now they're having to scrape and scrounge to get by. And this is a primary example of what I'm talking about. And maybe now they have to get out of the house because they cannot no longer afford to pay that rent or pay that mortgage. They have to get out of the car because they
Mhm.
no longer can reward those birthdays with income, to be able to pay the car note. So, and that's diversity and inclusion. That's in the CIA. I think it's DCFP, the FBI, and a lot of other organizations that have had losses. Shout out to you people. My heart goes out to you. I know what it's like to be destitute. I know what it's like to be unemployed. I know what it's like to be on unemployment. And I know what
Mhm.
it's like to be pushed out of your job for something that you didn't create. I understand that. I have compassion for you, but I just want you to know that the sun is going to shine again. The big thing to be concerned about is that when life is going your way and things that seem
Mhm.
to be so good, there's going to be a drought in your life. Life is filled with ebbs and flows, with peaks and valleys. You're going to go up and you're going to go down. You may be down right now, but remember the only way you can go down is that you have to be up. You're down now, you're on your way up. And when you go up again, reciprocity keeps happening over and over. That's enough of
Mhm.
that. I know that was a long introduction, but I had to. California, 187,000 people are homeless. New York City, 158,000 people are homeless right now as we speak. The veterans, and it's a shame to go and serve in this country and then come out as a veteran and have to live in poverty and in homelessness. It's a shame.
Mhm.
Shame for educators and first responders, firefighters, police officers, and all those people that are safeguarding this country to have to be living paycheck to paycheck and having to work part-time jobs is repugnant. But this is the reality that we live in due to greed. But I want
Mhm.
to get back on the subject here. We're talking about homeless and sexuality, people who are living in shelters and they don't have anything and they're living beside someone else and they are judging that individual because of their likeness of their sexuality, I think is repugnant. And the only way to get out of a situation is to change your mindset. Change
Mhm.
and will change your life. But as we begin to talk more, and this is part three, as we talk more about homelessness and sexuality, a question that comes into my mind that I want to ask our guest, Mr. Jason Bunkley, is and I asked this question before, and I think this is this is noteworthy of going into again. And that question for you, Mr. Bunkley, is How can people get involved in the fight against homelessness and foster inclusivity?
One, become a part, be involved in the community, um, join organizations that are eradicating homelessness, right? In the community. Um, Connect with your local leadership, city council members, things of individuals in that space, and to share with them your concerns surrounding homelessness, or find ways to support them and things that they're doing in the community to assist with homelessness. Um, and or you can create an organization, find out what grants or dollars are available to assist with the homeless population in your community, and find out what portion of the homeless population it's underserved, and then create a program that will be able to serve the community in that aspect. So, like I said, if you don't want to do that, like I said, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Work with organizations that's already doing the work, and to start as a start. And if those organizations are truly not doing the work, then you might want to start your own. Either way, just be creative, become resourceful, and get busy and do it today.
Okay. I want to say this, and I left this off, and this is definitely noteworthy of mentioning. I told you that the veterans are down 7.6% from the previous year. Being down 1% is good. I don't know what the previous year was because the statistics didn't show it to me, and I have enough time to go in. But you can go into Chat GPT and look these things up for yourself. Remember that if you're educated, the definition of education is what? It is knowing the answer or the information, or knowing where to find it. And so we are now in an era, an age of information. Ignorance is no longer on the table. You don't have to thumb through the Encyclopedia Britannica like I did when I was in high school and college. You no longer have to go through the world encyclopedia or read the Reader's Digest, which my mom used to get, or the other one called Popular Science. Everything now is at the touch of your fingertips. And I just want to share something, and this is what Jason shared with me, and I'll be happy to put this in the comments. Or if you live in the Newark area, you can look this up. So in the city of Newark, they have their own app, and you can go on because everybody have a phone, even homeless people have a phone. And this is called the path home, collaborating across our community. And the path house is a collaborative, is a collaboration. I'm sorry, collaborating across our community is our plan to end chronic homelessness in the city of Newark. This comprehensive data-driven plan, developed by more than 100 partners, aims to end chronic homelessness in Newark over the next 3 years. It seeks to establish a cooperative structure to address the multiple needs of residents without addressing such as temporary and permanent housing, employment, medical and behavioral health care, and support services to view the plan. And so to view this plan, you can click here, but they have a thing that you can click. It says text path home to, or you can call this if you want to. If you don't want to download the app, you are texting home, path to home, path home. The number you send that to 85511, or click here to start. Okay. So it doesn't give the whole number. I guess that you could just put that in there. But this is the information that I have, and I'm just reading from it. I apologize for my poor reading, but I got on the wrong prescription of glasses. And if you keep on living, you'll understand what I'm saying. About that, no shame in my game on that part right there. Um, I want to ask you this question, Mr. Bonkley. What message would you like to share with those who may be struggling with homelessness and discrimination based on their identity? Give me a short pick me up for those people, some words of confidence. words of comfort and encouragement. I lost
Sorry about that.
I,
Here we go. You can hear me now.
I can hear
So,
you.
dealing words to support in dealing with homelessness and discrimination. One, you know, like my brother said, homelessness is a state of mind, and I want to speak to the idea of that homelessness is a state of mind. So trouble don't last always, right? And so pick yourself up. You know that this is a temporary situation that doesn't define you, and that this actually is an opportunity for you to springboard into a greater space and place. It's also a greater place for you to be able to think higher and from a place of creating wealth for you and your family. So not just a place of, oh, I'm coming out of homelessness to have it somewhere to lay my head, which is great, but to think about the ideal of changing the trajectory of your family and creating a legacy for your family. So when I speak to people, I speak to them from that place, for change. Discrimination, but and just because you're homeless doesn't mean you should be discriminated against, or that somebody should mistreat you, or that you should be treated less than. No, this is a temporary situation, and you are being placed with the proper people, professionals that will be able to assist you with getting back on your feet and creating your today, preparing your to creating it today with preparations for tomorrow. So stand strong in who you are. Don't ever let anybody tell you different, and then for being able to move forward if you have someone that has discriminated against you, go to the necessary organizations and people and allies that will support you and stand in your truth and be able to know that you should be vindicated for any injustice that you receive, in terms of discrimination. So be strong and stand flat footed in that, and don't let anybody tell you anything different. But
I like
homelessness is a state of mind, and it doesn't have to remain.
I like that. Definite state of mind. It doesn't have to remain. You just pieced that and coined that so eloquently. And I'm sure that somebody that's watching this video may be dealing with some issues, substantial issues in their own life. So I know I addressed this before, and I know this sounds like it's redundant, but I want to come in from a different door, right? Um, because I want to make sure that people are getting this. The young man or young woman that's dealing with something on the inside right now, and they don't know, you 14 years old, you don't know whether you want to be straight, lesbian, gay, whether you want to be bisexual. These are things that we have to all come to hard grips with. And we have to, before there's any conclusivity, we have to first uh, live it in our own mind. So, I talk to a lot of people and they say, I would never be gay. I was talking to someone the other day and they were saying, why would you do this? And I said, well, you can't expect the person, you're heterosexual. Do you like, and I was talking to a lady, do you like women? No, I don't want no women. You like men, right? Right. Then what if somebody told you not to like men, but to like women? Would that be upsetting to you? Of course, she said. And so it led me to say, well, then how can you say to another person that they shouldn't be doing this? Or like in the past, they would try to pray people out of this. People like what they like, right? Right? I like strawberry ice cream. I like chocolate, but I love strawberry ice cream. Strawberry ice cream is my favorite, especially Tillamook. I haven't found anything that could beat that, right? But
Mhm.
what is wrong? What's the difference in someone that likes chocolate ice cream but doesn't like strawberry? So what gives me the right to go and say, this is what you like, instead of letting people be who they are? In which I think it will help a lot with the crime rate, homelessness rate, suicide rates. And suicide, we're standing right at the threshold of suicide right now, and talking about people who are trying to learn and determine their identity. And they're standing there with the knife in hand right now, or their parents are out on a date, and I used to work with someone, and I learned that their son had taken his life because he decided to to delve over into the homosexual realm, and he got over it. He couldn't live with himself. Another young man from my hometown, the same thing happens to this. Whereas if his parents would have embraced him and embellished him with love, then possibly then these children would still be here and alive. But of course, we allow religion and foolishness to claim the lives of our babies. I'm sure we'd rather have a gay son or daughter than a dead one. I'm sure somebody is watching this video. I'm not talking to those people. I'm talking to people who are seeking change, people who have a heart, and people are not so um, heavenly bound that they are no earthly good and that they are doing more damnation than good. So, to that individual that's standing on the threshold right now and saying, I'm ready to jump over the bridge and take and end it all. I'm ready to do harm to myself, whether I'm gonna use a firearm or a sharp instrument or whatever the case might be, but I just want to take myself out. Take a moment and address that person again that's standing there is dealing with an identity crisis. And then you could even, if you're willing to, talk about any experience that you've had or you shared with some colleagues or individuals that you made to shed some light on those individuals to be a life-saving opportunity here.
So I definitely say to those individuals who may be experiencing some, have experienced a setback between, the loss of home, loss of loved one, um, loss of income, loss of relationship, any type of loss that you may be experiencing, or anything that has you in a space that you think life is not worth living. Um, I want you to begin to think about individuals who, one, reach out to an organization that will be able that you can call in terms of crisis and be able to speak to somebody that can help you through a challenging moment, this challenging moment and challenging time.
Okay.
Again, as I stated before, right? So we have professionals and organizations that are set aside to do that. If you can't reach one of those organizations, reach out to a family, a friend that you trust and that you confide in, and let them know the state that you're in, and so that they can be a present help for you.
Mm,
They can be a present help for you, but it's very important that you are able to articulate to them um, what's going on and what your situation may be, so that they can come to your aid.
okay.
And that again, I always say to people, like it won't always be this way. And and I will say to people, if you know of individuals who are possibly in this space who are experiencing, have been impacted in multiple ways between loss of, suffered losses and experiencing homelessness and maybe suffering from depression or anxiety, reach out to those individuals, check on them, right? Be intentional about your communication with them and let them know that you are there. Show up for them. Show up for them in ways unimaginable if you possibly can, or even it's a small thing. That small thing can mean the difference of life and death for them. Get them connected to other, and if you're unsure, get them connected to other resources that will help them and that will aid them in the space that they're in. And that's still a help no matter what. If either if you talk to them or if you connect them with somebody who can, that'll go a long way and let them know that they're valuable, they're beautiful, and that they are needed and they are somebody.
Wow. Beautiful. I believe that, especially in young people, teenagers, a lot of them are experiencing things and they don't know what they want to be. And they're trying it out. I don't see anything wrong with it if that's their choice to do that. At least they'll know what they like and what they don't like.
Mhm.
Um, I have another question I want to ask you, and then another final question. What are your hopes for the future in creating more compassionate and inclusive systems for the homeless community?
So for me, I look forward to creating, working with other leaderships and community activists and organizations here and around the country. I mean, I'll just say here because I've been able to connect with some other people
Mhm,
um, to be able to bring change to this matter in our country, not just in Newark or in Atlanta, but I even have made relationships in LA as well. And so that we can create initiatives that will, help this population and also help the largest portion of the population who have not been assisted,
mhm.
right? But let's start somewhere. For me, being able to do that, continue my efforts with boots on the ground here, and in the seat of being a commissioner for the city of Newark, uh, working with other commissioners here, organizations, and being able to create um, the right opportunities for Newark residents to that is experiencing homelessness, um, and also ensure that they don't have to, and that we can get them to permanent housing, a faster track to a pathway home, uh, much sooner than later.
Okay. All right. Well, this pretty much concludes the interview or the I don't even call it an interview, the discussion, and I hate to bring it to an end because I'm really enjoying this. And this part three is always, the last part is always the hardest part because it's like, wow, this ship has now reached the destination, and of course, always in uncharted waters because you never know what comes up. And this has been an opportunity to have a authentic and genuine and organic conversation. Even though I had these questions pre-written, and I know it was a lot of them, I want to thank you for taking the time to speak with me and to share on your experiences, your hopes, your dreams, your vision. I want to thank you for taking a stand and not just talking, but taking the initiative in your city, New Jersey, and as well in New York and here in California, three major cities, that you are making a difference to deal with the homeless population, the LGBTQ, LGBTQ community, and as well as you did in Atlanta. And I've had the opportunity to even, as you remember, visit some different platforms that you've had the opportunity to speak on and spearhead. And this is something that is going to be an ongoing battle. It's going to be uphill. But I just want to thank you for your courage, your commitment, and your unwavering selflessness in making sure that you're doing something to create difference and to bring about change, awareness, and education. You are certainly boots on the ground and you are to be celebrated. I celebrate you today for your hard work, for your just your commission to stand on a challenge like this. This is a hard thing to deal with, being discriminated with, hatred, divide, unrest, foolishness, and ignorance. So I just want to thank you for that and all that you do. I have a final question as we wrap up here, and this question is totally not relevant relative to what we're discussing. The last person that I had on because I'm in the financial arena, but I like to talk about some of everything. And that's just because these are real topics and nobody are really talking about them to this level. So this person is a financial person who left this question. Every person that comes on the show, on my podcast, will answer a question, and you've already agreed to that, pre-agreed to it. I'm going to share the question with you, and I want you to try to answer that question in under 2 minutes. And then, if you would, I would like for you to leave a question for my next guest. Agree?
Agreed. We can do it.
My man.
We can
So
do
the
it.
final question I have here is, have you found the opportunity that's going to change you and your family for the rest of their lives? If not, what are you doing every single day to look for it?
Great question. I'm glad that you asked. I believe that at least for me, where I am right now, I believe that real estate will be one of the avenues. Investing in real estate will be one of the avenues to change the trajectory and to build wealth for my family. Is one, and also finding other avenues for investment. But that is the one way that I'm leading with, and then I would say above. Second to that would be just how I live every day, right? How I live and how I present myself to my family, to my loved ones, to my community, right? Being authentic to who I am, right, is a start. And I think that when you can and when you do that, you'll be able to accomplish those things and you'll be open enough to um, do those things. But it is a mindset, and we mentioned that a few times within this conversation. So the mindset, but I think how I show up how every day has a lot to do with how I'll make impact or change within for my family. So it start within really, and then that is the first avenue is internally, and then finding those sources or resources to be able to do that. But as I stated, wow, my wealth building opportunity through real estate will change my family. But again, how I live every day and with intentionality and showing up will definitely be the thing that does that.
Awesome. Everyone, I want to thank you for tuning in and watching the Asset Protection Pastor. I hope this video has added value to you. Again, I want to thank my friend Jason Bunkley for coming on and sharing his insight. Be sure to subscribe for more videos like this and financial awareness as we continue to educate our community um, and we move forward. So, again, thank you. Take care of yourself and each other. I look forward to sharing with you on many more videos like this to come. Bye for now.